Once upon a time in the heart of Maplewood, there lived a curious boy named Jamie. Jamie loved the world around him, especially the enchanting forest that whispered secrets to him in rustling leaves and chirping birds. One sunny Saturday morning, a sense of wonder bubbled within him as he recounted his cousin's tale of a mysterious cave hidden deep in the woods. "Today is the day," Jamie declared, his eyes sparkling with excitement. He quickly packed his backpack, making sure to include his favourite snacks, a bright flashlight, and a carefully drawn map based on his cousin's vivid description. "Jamie," his mother called from the kitchen, "be safe, and remember what I taught you about the woods." "I will, Mom," Jamie replied confidently, already imagining himself as an intrepid explorer. The forest greeted him with a gentle breeze, and the pathways glistened as sunlight danced through the branches. Enthralled by the lively environment, Jamie ventured deeper, each step filled with anticipation. The forest seemed like a friendly giant, guiding him to his hidden destination. Hours passed, and the winding paths seemed to twist around him. He often checked his map, feeling sure of his ability to find the cave. But gradually, every towering tree and rustling bush began to look alike. A sliver of worry crept into his thoughts, quickly brushed aside by his determination. "I can find it," Jamie reassured himself, pushing onward. The sun started to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. Jamie felt a tingle of unease as shadows stretched across the forest floor, blending into a sea of mystery. Stopping, he tried to match the map to his surroundings. The realization dawned that nothing looked familiar. "Stay calm, Jamie," he whispered, his voice wavering slightly in the growing dusk. Embarrassment gnawed at him. He was smart and brave. How could he admit that he was lost? He remembered his mother's advice about staying put, but pride kept him moving. Determined to find the elusive cave, he trudged forward, the forest now a tangle of uncertainty. As the vibrant sunset melted into a deep indigo sky, Jamie realized the folly of his stubbornness, the chill of fear edging closer. With the onset of twilight, Jamie's surroundings turned eerie and unfamiliar. The rhythmic chatter of birds and rustling leaves had faded, replaced by the cold cry of night creatures. Anxiety danced around him like a shadow. He clutched his backpack tightly, deciding it was wise to find a large tree for shelter and rethink his next steps. "I need to be smart about this," he thought, recalling Mrs. Hargrove from school, who always talked about staying calm in tough situations. The flashlight cut through the darkness, providing some comfort as its beam illuminated the path ahead. Jamie's eyes scanned the trees, searching for one tall enough to climb or use as a marker. When he found it, he turned the light skyward, hoping against hope to catch someone's eye. Yet, the vast emptiness of the forest around him seemed to swallow his feeble efforts. Despite his growing exhaustion, Jamie tried not to let fear overpower him. His small hands trembled slightly as he peeled an apple, one of his snacks. Each bite gave him a sliver of comfort, reminding him of home. He thought of his father, who always said, "Strength isn't just being brave, it's knowing when to ask for help." His courage flickered with the flashlight's dying beam. Finally, swallowing his pride, Jamie decided it was time. He cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted, "Help! Is anyone there?" His heart thumped loudly in his chest, echoing his calls. To his great relief, after what felt like an eternity, a voice carried back through the trees. "Hello? Who's out there?" called a stranger. The voice was kind and steady, sending a rush of hope through Jamie's tired body. "I'm Jamie," he shouted back, excitement and fear mingling in his voice. "I'm lost." Emerging from the darkness was a forest ranger, her warm smile reassuring Jamie immediately. "Don't worry," she said, holding up her compass with a confident nod. "Let's get you home." Together they began retracing his steps through the forest, Jamie feeling lighter with every step, as if leaving his fears behind him in the growing shadows. As Jamie walked alongside the forest ranger, the weight of his worry began to lift. Each step felt surer, guided by the ranger's calm presence and her precise compass. "How did you find me?" Jamie asked, marveling at the comforting company of the stranger. The ranger smiled, her eyes twinkling in the moonlight. "I was on my usual patrol when I heard you calling. It's a good thing you found the courage to speak up. The forest may seem big, but remember, you're never completely alone in it." Jamie looked around, seeing the familiar path slowly emerge under the pale moonlight. "Thank you," he said, his voice full of gratitude. As they neared the edge of the forest, Jamie's heart leapt when he spotted familiar outlines, the distant glow of street lights and the shape of his family's house not too far away. Relief washed over him, warm and comforting. At the forest's edge, he saw his family waiting anxiously. His mother rushed forward, wrapping him in a hug that was as tight as it was full of love. "Oh, Jamie, we were so worried." Jamie grinned up at her, feeling safe between his parents. "I'm sorry," he confessed. "I got lost, but the forest ranger helped me." His father ruffled his hair gently. "What matters is you're here now, and you learned something valuable today." The ranger bid them farewell with a nod. "Remember," she said to Jamie, "asking for help when you need it is one of the bravest things you can do." As she disappeared back into the woods, Jamie felt a new strength inside him, a wisdom wrapped in kindness. He understood now that bravery was more than exploring alone. It was recognizing the strength of community and accepting a helping hand when needed.
If you enjoyed this story, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content.